welcome back to another episode of Why I Love BNI, your podcast spotlighting different businesses in different chapters and also different regions on what they love about their business, being a part of the BNI family, and how it's impacted their business. So, today I'm super excited to have my guest Richard with us today. Richard, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Macy. I'm always happy to help a fellow BNIer.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. Well, you and I connected through some really great friends, with Amber Payne and some other awesome people over in BNI. And it's just so great to be able to connect with so many enthusiastic people when it comes to BNI and about their business. And I can really hear that from you when we talked over the phone the other day. So I'm super excited to dive in. You're kind of mentioning before we start recording, this is kind of like the BNI Pandora's box of like a rabbit hole we're all going to go down. So I'm super excited to learn some great things. So why don't you kick us off? And first of all, just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help people.
Absolutely. I am a commercial printer in Central Florida. We're in the Orlando area, and I have been doing this for the past 44 years. It's the only job I've ever had, and I love helping people, and that's really what I'm all about. And that's why BNI and Givers Gain meshes so well with my lifestyle and how I conduct myself in the business world. So it was really a natural and a very unexpected adventure, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. And I've been a
Yeah,
BNI member for 8 years.
that's incredible. Well, I'd love to learn just a little bit about your printing business, of course, because I feel like maybe we might have some ideas of what that entails, but you can kind of educate us and tell us a little bit about what you're specifically doing. Like, what are some of the services you provide other businesses?
Well, sure. My main responsibilities here at Creative Printing and Publishing in Sanford, Florida, are sales. I'm the executive sales director and marketing director. Uh, we do all forms of printing. If you can imagine it, we can do it.
Okay.
Uh, I help people get out of sticky situations many times because a lot of our customers, or some of them, think that, oh, well, I can just do this on my own equipment. And then when they design it and they start printing it, they realize this isn't exactly what I envisioned. So I take their issue, their problem, and I turn it into a finished product and make them
Mm,
happy. And
okay.
also many times my customers realize, oh my God, I just used my last envelope. What am I going to do? So they call me in a panic. Or, I've always got some sort of deadline we're meeting, every single day, every week. And I try not to have the word no, N-O, in my vocabulary. I want to be the solution for everybody if I can, and if I can't, I'll direct them to where they can. You know, there's not every single job fits our niche or our mold, but I will tell them up front right away if it isn't, and just try to be helpful. I don't want to
Mm,
take on a job that is going to cause problems for them and us, but that
exactly.
rarely happens because we do letterheads, envelopes, business cards, brochures, event printing, you name it, we do it. If it's a branded item, I can print it, even if it's a pen, a banner, um, anything. There's
Yeah.
rarely a situation that comes up where I say, nah, I can't do that.
So you mentioned that you can print anything. If we can imagine it, you can print it. So is there like what's maybe the most creative thing you've ever had to do or the most out there? I don't want to use like
Hmm.
any negative perceptors. Like it's not weird or anything, but like what's the most different one you've had to do maybe if that's the better phrasing?
Wow, I don't know that I have any specifically
Okay.
that are popping in my head, but we've done event tents and
Okay.
like for Amber's company, and
Um,
I could send you a picture of it. It came out absolutely beautiful,
yeah.
and it will last for years and years and years. And they use it all the time at the different events that they attend, and it helps promote and identify their business.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
another way of branding.
that
Branding
is.
yourself. marketing yourself.
Yeah, and those tents are gorgeous. I've seen Amber's tent before, and that's very gorgeous. I didn't realize you guys did it. So there you
Yes, we do.
go. It's awesome. And well, definitely if you want to send me a picture, I'll put it up and so people can see it for
Sure.
themselves. It's a great job.
I will
But
do it when we're done, for sure.
perfect. Thank you. Well, switching gears just a little bit, you told me you have a very unique and interesting BNI story on how you got involved and how you learned about BNI. So I would love to hear it.
Okay, for sure. All right. 8 years ago, I was invited to a BNI meeting. I knew absolutely nothing about BNI, and I was very hesitant to even come because really I want to go to morning meetings. I didn't envision that that was a good way to spend my marketing time. But he was a friend, and I listened to him. And then that very day, another person calls me from this startup chapter
Mm-hmm.
and invites me. I don't know the guy. I honestly did not know him. He was the incoming president. And he said, "Oh, Barry said so many nice things about you. And we really need a printer in our chapter. And I would like you to come. I'm inviting you to come." And he said, "And besides, I use printing services all the time, and I'm not married to any of them. I don't really like any of them, not attached to them. But if you would come and maybe join, I would switch my business to you." All right. Now he's got my attention because he wants to give me business. So this is sounding a little bit better and a little more interesting and enticing. Then again, same day, 3 phone calls in one day from the launch director of the chapter. Now, it happened to be somebody that I grew up with, and she is very persuasive and doesn't take no for an answer very well. And she put it to me this way: "Okay, Richard, we're having a meeting on Wednesday. You will be there, and later you will thank me for inviting you and coming. And I know you're going to join." So, all right, now this is crazy. 3 people, same thing, inviting me to come to this meeting. My interest is piqued, and then the next day, 2 people emailed me. "Oh, I hear all these great things about you, and I think you should come to the meeting. I can't wait to meet you, and we'll do business together." So I'm like, now I'm really blown away. I've had 5 different people reach out to me, and I'm thinking, I have a pretty good opinion of myself, but this is crazy. 5 different people with the same thing want me to come. Well, I go, and still, I'm still skeptical, but I go to the meeting and I see what's going on, and it's a room full of people who are super excited about their businesses and very outgoing and want to connect with me. Well, there were 2 other printers in the room, and I noticed if I don't jump at this opportunity, somebody else is. So I
Mm-hmm.
signed on the dotted line that day, and I've never looked back. And I did
Wow.
have to thank that launch director. And if you would have told me then that I would be on this path and what I'm doing now, I would say you probably need to go speak to a counselor and seek professional help, because I really never thought that it was going to turn into this. And to be honest with you, it has transformed my business life. I'm so enthusiastic about BNI and what it has meant to me, and I love spreading the word. And whenever I go and help with a visitor day as an area director, it's easier for me to be excited about it because I've lived it and I know what it's meant to me. So I never say that I'm the smartest person in the room, but I might be the most enthusiastic.
Mhm. Which is a great I mean, that's a great what's the word? Descriptor, I guess, but that's so cool to hear that so many people and, you mentioned you have a good, healthy opinion of yourself, which is perfect, but then
Right.
also I'm sure it's just such a telling what is it? It's such a tell of your character and how others perceive you that they were all just so excited to meet with you because you mentioned some of those people you didn't even know that well. And you
Absolutely. And
didn't
I
know
was able
anything.
to
Mhm.
tell the same story to Dr. Meisner because I met him a couple of years ago in Miami, which was awesome. But I frequently tell people that I was not invited to BNI, I was recruited. It was like a bull rush. And I really don't know why more chapters don't utilize that technique. Because if you identify somebody who you really want to join your chapter and you think that they would be a big asset, why not?
Right.
I was really blown away and taken back with all the attention that was thrown my way. And boy, it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I especially I think what's important to know is that I know a lot of people get anxious when it comes to, either follow up in general or just reaching out and like, oh, they don't want to hear from me or someone else is gonna do it. It's, they're gonna be upset, they're gonna be mad. And like you're not the first, well, you're the first version of this type. But there's another gentleman up in Jacksonville, and let me tell you, he invited this other gentleman probably to his chapter maybe like 10 or 20 times. And then now a year later, he's joined and he has absolutely doubled his business, tripled his business type of thing. He's like, I would have never done it without BNI. So I appreciate you being persistent about it. But the messages you were getting weren't anything crazy. They weren't like, Richard, you have to join our BNI because, blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey, we see the value in you. We appreciate you. We've heard so many great things. We think you would be a great asset to us and likewise, and vice versa. And they were right. They knew something we didn't. They're just like a
Absolutely,
guy.
and I'm so happy that they did, for
Mhm.
sure, 'cause it has
Yeah.
been transformative, for sure, no
Do you
doubt.
have any BNI success stories? Maybe any quick ones that you'd love to share? I know that's like a big
I
ask. I'm sure
do,
you have so
I do.
many.
This is my favorite one, and I am the leading referral giver for our area, for Central Florida,
Wow.
and I'm so proud to wear that badge because it makes me incredibly happy to live that giver's gain philosophy every single week. But, um, during COVID times, I live in a townhome community, and we were being, we were socially distancing at the pool, and my granddaughter lives with us every other weekend, and she struck up a friendship with this little girl who lives in the neighborhood, and I become friendly with the father, and we would typically, hey, how's business, what's going on, just small talk. And one day I asked him, so how's business? And he said, it's great and it's terrible. I said, what does that mean? He said, "Well, I'm a builder of luxury homes in an area in Orlando, and I've got a lot of work. That's the great part. The bad part is because of COVID, my subs don't want to work.
Mm,
They're worried about getting sick." So I said, "Well, why don't you tell me more? What would be maybe one sub that would be at the top of your list?" And he said, "HVAC, air conditioning services." I said, "That's interesting." I said, I know of a guy who is terrific. They have Disney contacts. They do commercial and residential work. I use them at home and I've referred them over and over and over again. They never let me down. They are rock solid. I know that they'll do a great job for you. And he is so excited. He's begging me for that contact. And I had it in my toolbox. So I was great, super excited, and the opportunity presented itself. So the next day, I connected them via email and told them all the virtues of this particular company. And I don't hear anything for months, months and months. Then I'm at my BNI meeting, and this particular fellow says to me, "I don't know how to thank you." I said, "AJ, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, you connected me with John, and we've struck a deal where I'm doing all of his HVAC work. He got rid of the other company. They don't need them anymore. I'm his number one go-to guy. And he put in $100,000 to thank you for closed business to me.
wow.
So this is the gift that keeps giving because every time John's building a house, AJ is doing the HVAC work. So it was a match that was made in heaven. And I was there at the right time. Listen, life is all about timing. If you're in the right place at the right time and you can make a difference, I will seize that opportunity every single time.
Hmm.
And when I put in a referral, I don't just usually put it into the system. I'm going to write a connecting email, introductory email, extolling the virtues of Macy and why you should absolutely connect with her and do business with her. So I try to pave the way, for them to do business with one another and, kind of jet charge that referral and make it easy for them to do business together. And it's worked
Exactly.
over and over and over again.
That's
That's my
amazing.
number one BNI success story.
That's
I have another
amazing.
one about Amber that I could share with you another time if you'd
Yeah,
like it, because
I
I
would love to
I know
hear them.
we're
Yeah.
running a little late on time, but
No
it's
worries.
equally as great.
That's perfect, and I love that, about the email as well. I think that's a great tip for newer BNI members as well. That's my preferred way of connecting people and giving referrals, because I think it also gives a really great understanding of each other and each other's business, so when they connect, they know the absolute purpose. We're busy, we forget things, we're humans, we're forgetful. You know, it's easy for Richard to give me a referral, and he locks it into the system, and I go, "I have no idea why this person is here." I don't remember what specifically I asked for or what specifically he does, and vice versa. So it's so great to hear that it was so helpful. And I think another tip is you didn't hear about it for a few months. And I think that just goes to show that you just really wanted to connect them. You weren't you know, what's the word? Like, I
Well,
don't
what
know
I
what's the
do
word.
in BNI is never
Fussing.
self-serving.
Yeah,
It isn't. You know,
right.
I truly wanna help people, and another little tip that I can give you is, uh, as the vice president of my chapter, I put together the Palms report, and our Palms report is emailed and printed, and
Mm,
I take notes of every single ask of everyone in my chapter right
amazing.
next to their name, because I may not have that specific ask or person right now,
Right.
but what if I meet them next week or the week after, and I'll hold on to those reports for a month or 2, and sometimes I'll look at them and the light bulb goes off, "Oh my god, I I just met Joe Smith and, you asked for him." So then I quickly, do that, introductory referral like I was describing to you, and, it's magical. And if you look at my overall, you know, um, Palms activity record, if you want, over the 8 years, you would notice that I give far more than I get, and I am so perfectly happy with that
Mhm.
arrangement. I
That's
really am.
amazing. Yeah. Well, Richard, thank you so much for the time today. I mean, like you mentioned, you're definitely the most enthusiastic when it comes to BNI, when it comes about your business, when it comes to life. So I really appreciate you taking the time. You gave so many great tips and tidbits for I think a lot of people to take away. So again, thank you so much. It was really fun for me.
And Macy, thank you for inviting me. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it. And if I didn't completely believe in BNI and the system, I wouldn't be able to be as enthusiastic because
Right.
I, I'm I'm a person who speaks his mind and I don't fabricate things. Um, I want to put people in the best light possible. And if I
Mm-hmm.
believe in you, there's really nothing I wouldn't do for you.
Exactly. Oh, that's amazing to hear, and I think that's a really great tip to be as authentic as possible, especially when it comes to something like BNI in your business. So, Richard, again, thank you for the time, and to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.